If you're a business owner and want to invest money in a vinyl cutter so you can make and apply your own vinyl decals, in this video we're going to talk about a few things that you must know before investing money in your vinyl cutter. Hopefully this video will help you make the best decision. Let's get started. What we're about to share with you is more of an opinion than anything else. This is what we would do or would like to know before investing in our vinyl cutter. The first thing you must know is that most vinyl cutters require that you use a computer. So basic knowledge about computers is required, and you don't have to be an expert. You don't have to be a Bill Gates. If you know how to use the mouse, how to use the keyboard, that should be enough to get you started. The next thing you must know is that you will need a certain degree of patience. It is very likely that you will not get the vinyl cutter running the very first time, or that something will not work out right away. So just let it be and get back to it the next day. Believe me, this will work out. Another thing that you should know is that you have to be willing to learn, and this is just as important. If you get stuck with something, or if you don't know how to use a software, you have to be willing to learn from others and be willing to do your research. I heard someone saying that to succeed faster, you have to fail faster. And this takes us to our next point. No matter what you say or who you are, it is very likely that some projects will go wrong. This is not being a pessimist, but failing or wasting material is just part of the process. You might as well enjoy it when it happens. It just means that you are learning something new. This is the type of mindset that we believe is required before getting started. Next, we're going to talk about what to look for in a vinyl cutter and a few other things. Deciding what type of vinyl cutter to get can be a real challenge. With so many options and prices, things can get very complicated when looking around for one. The next thing that you should know is that the price of the vinyl cutter is only half of the picture. Do not make the mistake of thinking that once you get your vinyl cutter, you are done investing. You still need to get vinyl, transfer, tools, and a lot more. After you add all of these, the investment can double or sometimes triple, depending on what vinyl cutter you get. Our next point is just as important as knowing what type of vinyl cutter to get, and that is find out what software will you need to vector or to work on your images. Regardless of what vinyl cutter you get, it is very likely that you will need to get either Adobe Illustrator or CorelDRAW. This is the price of the latter one. Some vinyl cutters will cost you even less than this software. Don't worry, after we cover all of our points, we will give you an option that will cost you about $200, and that will include the software and the vinyl cutter. Before buying your vinyl cutter, make sure that you will be able to use rolls of vinyl and you're not forced to use a cutting mat every time, and you can change the settings and cut something longer than 24 inches. Let us show you a medium-sized project that we did with this vinyl cutter. If you're a business owner, it is very likely that you are looking for something like this. And now let's talk about Cameo 4. You can get this vinyl cutter for around $200. This is a 12-inch vinyl cutter, although we strongly recommend that you invest in a bigger machine like a 24-inch vinyl cutter, which is the Cameo 4 Pro. It is totally worth the investment. The great thing about Cameo cutters is that you don't need to invest in getting a very expensive vector software like CorelDRAW, because you can download Silhouette Studio Basic Edition and it is totally free. And you should be able to work on all of your designs. This vinyl cutter is fairly easy to use. We will show you how to do this two-color design in just a minute. If you want to make and apply your own vinyl decals, the question is, how soon do you need to get it done? If you're trying to do just letters and numbers, it is very likely that you could do it the very same day that you get your vinyl cutter and materials. Now, if you're trying to do a cool design or logo, this may take you a few days or even weeks. That's if you're not familiar with this software and vinyl cutter. This is our Silhouette Studio Basic Edition looks like, totally free, very easy to download. Just go to your browser and type in silhouetteamerica.com. Just make sure to select the right software for your vinyl cutter. I am going to show you how we do a simple two-color design. The purpose of showing you this is so that you can see how easy it is to make basic letters and how possible it is for you to do the same thing with this vinyl cutter. I'm going to fast forward. I'm not going to get into every detail because we still have to show you how to actually cut and layer the vinyl for this design. I'm gonna go ahead and start typing in stickeraficionado.com. I'm gonna use something cursive because I want to show you the potential or small details that this vinyl cutter can do or can accomplish. And once I finish typing in, I'm gonna go ahead and add a contour. But first we have to combine it. Right now they're like all the letters are separate and I still need to combine them all. I'm gonna go ahead and group them all. And I'm gonna give it some color. And then I'm gonna go ahead and add the contour. All of these tools are available for you in the free edition, so you don't have to pay additionally. And now I have the contour, and I'm gonna give it another color probably to make it look like a background. And I'm also adding or changing the thickness of this contour. Once I'm happy with that, then I'm gonna go ahead and start doing the registration marks. But before that, I'm gonna go ahead and start showing the grid, like the little squares throughout our working area. This makes it easier to apply your registration marks since we're gonna be layering our vinyl. I gotta make sure that they are well centered, aligned, and everything. And it is very simple. Let me know in the comments if you guys want a detailed step-by-step of something like this. Then I'll go ahead and start working on something like that. But I just want to give you guys an idea of how we use this software. Now that we placed our registration marks exactly where we need them, I'm going to make a copy of exactly the same design. We're going to bring it down, and then I'm going to get rid of the inside the letters, and that's going to be one color. I already mixed them or combined them with the registration marks. And now I'm going to double check and see, place one on top of each other and make sure that they are aligned or that they match perfectly. Before we start cutting the vinyl, I want to show you something that you can do with just basic letters and shapes. This is a fictitious name for a business. Very easy, and it doesn't really require that much. It's something you can do with this software. Our design is ready. We have our two layers separately, and I'm gonna check the settings to make sure that we get the best cut, and I'm gonna move one out of the way. And these are the settings for our Cameo cutter. If you are liking this video, make sure you give us a like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. Remember that you can also get your materials and equipment through our website, and that is www.rdidecals.com. Thank you for your support. If you decide to get this vinyl cutter and you're gonna be cutting something big, we would definitely recommend that you guys get this, the tape application rollers. We're gonna be using them today, but since our decal is gonna be kind of small, there's no really need for us to use it, but just to show you. And it makes aligning the vinyl really easy, especially when you're gonna be cutting something like this. Let's say we wanted to use a small piece of vinyl like this, like a scrap piece of vinyl. We would definitely need a cutting mat with the Cameo 4 12 inches. We're not hiding the truth from you. I think it's something that you should know before you invest your money in this vinyl cutter. If that's a big deal for you, then you should reconsider before buying this vinyl cutter. Most of the time we use the graphic when we have something like this. If we want to save or use the little pieces of vinyl, we use this vinyl cutter, but this one is very expensive compared to the Cameo 4. If you want to make sure that your vinyl is completely aligned, just make sure that you send quite a bit of vinyl to the back. As you can see, it's not moving much. Another of the downsides about this vinyl cutter is the noise that it makes, but that's only noticeable if you've been using like a graphic or something like that, something more expensive. So basically it shouldn't be a big deal if this is the first time you're using a vinyl cutter. I'm gonna bring the vinyl again to the back so I can cut it with the little blade that our vinyl cutter has on the back. And I don't know if you can see the line here. I'm gonna try to cut it because I just wanna get rid of that. All right, nice. It almost cut through the paper, so we could probably decrease the cut force a little bit just by one. All right, now it's time to do the second layer of vinyl, which is the last one. And let's see, we decrease the cut force by one. Hopefully it'll do a better job. Although this one is not bad. Yeah, this one is going to be a challenge winning out. I can already see that because of the type of fonts. I'm going to start winning out the red color, and then after that I'm going to do the white, but I'll just take my time because I don't want to mess up the registration marks. See, the settings are not too bad. You have to be really careful with small letters, small designs. Sometimes you underestimate how challenging that's going to be. Like if you decide to do this also like a side job, like if you want to sell decals, that's something that you should always pay attention to, like the design, the logos and stuff, how much detail there is in them. Now I'm going to start winning out the white color. See, the settings, even though are the blade cut through the paper, sometimes, as I was saying earlier, you have to be really careful with the type of logos or designs. Like I decreased the cut force because it was cutting through the paper, but now I'm having a hard time winning this out because it's not much because of the settings, but the type of letters and the type of design. Something just to keep in mind, okay? So basically what we have to do, we have to apply this on top. Although if you think about it, it can get a little confusing because this is the background. So naturally you would think that this would be at the bottom, but you have to do a reverse. You have to apply the transfer on the one that's going to be on top if you are making decals or if you are doing the process that we are. Now, when it comes to transfers, we use three different kinds, or the main ones that we use: the high tag, which is our favorite transfer, especially if we are sending decals out of state, and it is the R-Tape Clear Choice AT75.1. But we have another option, which is the exactly the same brand, except this one is the AT60. This one is a low tag. It's basically the opposite of the other. This one is good to use it if you have damaged paint or if you have a very delicate surface. The only downside is when lifting or when trying to remove the letters from the backing paper, it makes it kind of hard to do that. Another of the things or differences is that the AT60, which is the low tag, it's a lot easier to see through it. So if you are layering vinyl, this basically will be easier because you will be able to see even better. Like, see, it's 100% clear. And let me show you the high tag. It's also clear, but not as clear as the other one. See the difference? All right, so I'm gonna make sure that it is big enough. Yeah, I know I'm gonna be wasting a little bit, but it's not a big deal. It's already covered. And the way I'm gonna apply this is, I'm gonna do it reverse, but I'm gonna trim the little edges here. So basically I'm gonna do a reverse. Usually we place the decal on the table and then we apply the transfer on top. But for this small decal, I'm just gonna do reverse. And as I said it, I'm making sure that I apply the transfer on the right layer of vinyl. And now what I need to do, I'm gonna trim, but I'm gonna make sure to leave a little bit of room. Just gonna use like little piece of paper. I could try to do it like that, but I'm not gonna risk it. I've been spoiled by the by Graphic, I gotta say, because it's so easy to use a Graphic vinyl cutter. But if we were to start all over again and I wanted to leave my job, I wouldn't even think about it. I would definitely get a Cameo cutter, and it doesn't require that much of an investment. And later on, we could upgrade to the next layer vinyl cutter. All right, now I'm gonna do. If you can see, I can still see through the paper, the backing, the transfer, and I'm just placing the registration marks on top of each other. Of course, our tapes are not working 100%, but no big deal. I already placed the layer on top, so it's not a big deal. And then I can just apply this on top. And I'm I'm gonna save those little tapes because I may use them to apply the decal on our surface. And this is where we're gonna apply our decal. This is the surface we're gonna use. And if you can see, there's a lot of adhesive left from an old sticker that I had. Basically, once I remove this, it's gonna be the same thing. And for this, we always recommend that you get Goof Off. This is the one that works the best. This is a adhesive remover and it's totally safe for your surface. We've been using it for some time and so far it hasn't damaged any paint or any surface. And I'm gonna be using it on my laptop. So that tells you how much we trust this thing. You will need to apply more because it's a lot of adhesive. I think I did a great job. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Now that we have removed, I would say 99% of it, I doubt this computer is going to be out on the street or in the public. I don't really have to worry too much about it. I'm going to use a little bit of rapid tag to get rid of whatever's left, like the goof off that's left on the surface, because we want to make sure our decal stays on the surface for at least a few years. Hopefully this computer will last as long. Especially for fonts like this, there is no like a straight surface. If you see the letters, like especially this type of letters, it's really hard to get a an exact reference, and that's why we use those registration marks. Let's say if I wanted to make sure that the decal is 100% straight, like I could use this as reference to the sides, make sure that both sides are the same, are center and same distance and everything. So that's the reason why we always use or make sure that our alignments are 100% aligned. Now what I'm going to do next, I'm going to remove this completely, and basically what I'm going to do a wet application. And the reason I'm going to do it this way is because most of the time we do a dry application, and I'm going to show you how, if you are not 100% confident of the application or the installation. I mean, I know this is going to work better with smaller decals. This one is a 12-inch decal, so it's not a big deal. But if you were using like a medium size to a bigger one, then the rapid tag could be a very nice solution that you should consider getting. And I'm going to cover it with that solution. And it does not affect the adhesive of the decal. It deactivates it for a few minutes. See, let's say you misplaced it. You have got a few minutes to reposition it. I'm gonna see if we have it aligned to the sides, and I still got a few minutes to move it around if I want to. And then a few seconds later, you can start sending all the rapid tag to the sides. Once you are happy with the placement of the decal, I don't want any of the rapid tag to go to our keyboard, so that's why I am drying that before it touches the keyboard. And the only downside is that you have to wait a few minutes, but if you're doing like an outdoor application, it won't take that long. It will only take a few minutes because the rapid tag will dry out really fast.
And there you guys have it. This was the Silhouette Cameo 4 vinyl cutter. Amazing what you can do with this very affordable machine. Although far from being a perfect vinyl cutter, but for $200 it gets the job done. Hopefully you found some value in this video, and if you did, let us know in the comments. Also, make sure you give us a like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. Now, if you want to support us additionally, remember that we have memberships available in our channel. Just go to the join button and you will get all different options for different memberships. Thank you so much. Make sure you read all the instructions and choose the best that fits your needs. We'll see you guys until the next one.